right, welcome to Lee Richards.
You want to introduce her?
Yes, this is Lee Richards, a famous metalsmith, and she is going to give us a tour of her studio tonight, and we thank her for doing that. We'd like to thank Catherine Bowman for as the videographer.
Yes,
So,
it is.
take it away, lady.
yeah, infamous.
Infamous.
Okay.
So we're starting here in the studio. And
You need to talk to the microphone because we're having trouble hearing you.
okay, I don't know. Okay, so we're going into my studio here. This is the laundry room. I have spilled out into the laundry room, and and we'll get to that when we go back out. I have a little space. This was an office space when we moved in. It had a whole row of closets and stuff in it, and we took all that out. So it's a nice little space. I've crammed as much in as I could. My husband's handy with tools, so he's created this laminated workbench that's a butcher block, and it's a very nice space to work with. I have all my tools, and I have a inspiration kind of a board, just stuff I like, images I like, and I don't use my TV there anymore, so it's kind of taken over by images and my little
Oop, I might have lowered the volume.
It's okay, here, it's okay.
Oops.
Oh, hold on.
We can hear.
Technical difficulties. There we go. Technical difficulties.
All right.
Down here is the volume.
Okay.
Let's see if we can go up. There you go. Okay.
Are we good? Can you hear?
Yes, that's good. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
I was going to turn up the volume more, but I guess it's okay. So so there's the wall of just stuff I like, images, things I like. I find myself drawn to lots of lines and patterns. And on the left, the wall, these are all my drawers with my wire. So each one is labeled with the gauge and whether it's square, round, or half hard. And they're sterling and there's 14 karat gold fill. And all my glues, my lavender for when I'm really stressed, I can put it on my cotton ball. and of course, Mr. Spock, he oversees everything. So
May the force be with you.
oh, that's the wrong show.
That's the wrong one.
The longer process.
Okay.
And then so then I have a bunch of things that I just work with, beads and anything I feel inspired to use. My desk has usually got a lot of things on it, so pieces and parts, and I'll play with them until I finally find something I want to put together. There's several projects laying there now that I need to kind of put together. And so and I love this little, if you guys need a bench vise, this is, or a V-block holder, this is a great, I love it. So it's one of my best. And then this is my ring mandrel holder in case I'm shaping or forming rings. Along, and my Fordham, of course. And let's see, and here's all my little findings for jump rings or earring backs. And I have lots of punches for making, if you were going to do a chainmail or those are a lot, come in handy for that, and for doing, can't think of the technique now, Viking knit. These come in handy for doing Viking knit, which is really nice. They're transfer punches. I think I got them at, what is that, Harbor Freight?
Oh, Harbor Freight, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's, this is the cat bed. She likes to.
That's important.
You need that.
I do. And just kind of stuff that I like, that I've done, or I don't know. I just, anything that keeps the energy in the space and keeps me happy. And I love bats. So then we have a bat hanging, 2 bats hanging, and then a bat poster that was done by a college student in town. That was kind of fun. So, and my toolbox, and I have the anodizer from when I took the class with, now I'm not even going to think of his name. Seeley, is that right? Bill Seeley?
Yeah,
I think. So I have the anodizer, and I think I've used it more for saltwater etching than anodizing, but
Oh, well.
yeah, so it's okay. And then these are a couple examples of the saltwater etching, which I thought they did really nice. This is a really deep etch, and then that's a reverse etch.
Yeah. Well,
That's
it's
kinda
all
fun.
about time.
Oh,
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it works.
it is. And then that's an anodized project I'm working on. It's going to be a pin eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. And this is my newest purchase, which is that little Fordham bench buff from polisher. And it came with a lot of accessories, some felt wheels and stuff. It's a really good price if anybody was looking for something. And I like the way the hood and the vent works. I think if I were going to get it anything else, I'd probably get a second fan to put on the other side, so I'm not constantly switching my motor back and forth. But so that's that. And then here is all my stones, and I've made these really neat little funky handles out of old silverware that my mom had given me. So it's kind of fun.
That's awesome.
So they're kind of a fun, and here's just, they're all labeled, all my hearts, shapes, bars. And here's all my druzies and stones.
Wow.
Kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of like Linda. I love to buy stones. I don't know what I'm going to do with them later, and the fishing tackle boxes come in really handy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I have my jump rings, just boxes of jump rings that I've made. And I love
You
it.
know, I
did. I don't even know if you can find them anymore, but those were good mints. So, and then just a storage space under here for more. I have keep my anodizer under there when I need to, and etching supplies, and I have an iron for when I do kombu or so lots of little stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? Oh, and this is where I do my kiln work when I do my enameling, and I love this little kiln.
Yeah, you have the same kiln I do.
Oh, it's great. I like it. It's just the right size. And all my stuff for enameling. I have some coconut husk as well. I've got a casting, a Delft clay casting kit that I bought but never used yet, of course. I have to.
Not of course. It's just okay.
It is. So, and this is my soldering setup, which my husband is a jack of all trades, and he tends to over-engineer things. He's an engineer by trade. So he engineered this whole hood setup. It's got a hood from a stove, so you get draft going up this way, away from your face. Plus he has two extra vents that you can also will draw stuff away from you, and which is really nice. And there's the toggle switches in case you want to take off. They're right there. Like
just take off.
Just take off. Yes. So yeah, I feel like he's really done a great job. I think I feel really good about the ventilation in here. I was always worried about how that would come across. I have two torches, my mini torch, and then my aerosacetylene. So I have it for both purposes, which is great. I didn't know if I would use that a lot, but I really like it.
I love mine.
My goodness, it's really nice. It's nice and hot and very pinpoint.
I've been told it's one of the hottest torches there is.
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't know
Oh.
if that's true.
Oh, well, it could be, I guess.
You know,
Hot.
it is hot.
Yes, it does get pretty warm. I've had more success with perforating with it than I have with my other. So I was practicing doing perforating. I think I took a class with Paulette Myers.
Mm-hmm.
We had it out at her school, and I'm trying to make a box. So this is the beginning of making a box. So we'll see.
Yay, you.
Yay, yeah. And then my the fusing. So doing a little bit of fusing. So on my etching setup, I have all the ferric chloride over there set up for when I wanted to use it. And then this was supposed to be, I think this is etching stuff from my enamel, but I haven't used it and it's crystallized.
Yeah, it looks like kind of petrified in
So I
there.
don't think it's going to do anything.
Oh, well.
So, and I love tins. I don't know when I'll do anything with them, but I have them all up there. I have a whole bunch underneath my counter. People give them to me. So if anybody wants any tins, I can probably share. And this is where I usually do my enameling. I have some samples here that I just kind of was playing with. I took an enameling class with, oh, now I knew I was going to forget her name. Oh, just recently. Oh, darn it.
Ann Havel?
Yes, Ann Havel, thank you. And she did a lot of the watercolor painting and a lot of the sugar fire stuff. I don't know if you can see it or not.
Well, you can
It's
see that
kinda
it's
hard.
matte.
Yeah, so but it's, I'm just kind of fun playing with images. And there, you can see there's little teeny tiny. I did I mean, you had to get my
Ooh, I
octopus
like that.
really fine pencil. I think I commandeered my husband's engineering pencil. It's a
He
lead
came in
pencil.
handy.
He does come in handy. And and these are all my pliers. I'm not a big fan of these. I bought these. I thought they'd be really cool forming pliers. Not so much.
Not so much.
No, I haven't found the trick to liking those yet. We'll have to figure that out. Other than that, I have all the hammers. Like usually when we pick up those hammers from that gal who came to teach us. Oh, what was her name? She was not the best teacher, not the best person, but
yeah, but she had great
she had
hammers.
great. I mean, I think this was.
I got
one
some
of hers.
hammers from her too.
Oh, I can't think of her name.
Andrea Kennington?
Huh?
Andrea Kennington?
Yes.
Yes.
She had a lot in her workshop. I mean, she had a lot to do in her. I wish I had learned more. I just couldn't assimilate all the stuff she was.
Well, she packed a lot into that
did.
class.
It
I mean,
was
I was like,
a lot
my
of
brain was going to
information.
explode.
I thought maybe if I bought the hammers, it might help me learn. So, and this is this is a place where I usually will do some kind of, most of my sawing, piercing. I'm working on some, I took Sid Crawley, I think, her 3D class on how to make vessels.
Sid Rowley.
So, hydraulic press. And that isn't her last name Crawley? Was it Sid?
No, it's Rowley.
Raleigh. Okay, thank you. And so I'm kind of doing these. I've pressed the image into them. This one hasn't been cut out yet.
And the image stands up pretty good.
Yeah, it really didn't degrade hardly at all.
Yeah.
So, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with them. And this is just one that's just plain. So.
Work in progress.
Yeah, work in progress. So basically, I have lots of irons in the fire. That's probably part of my problem.
They're just thoughts.
They haven't come to fruition yet.
Yeah.
So this is my second work. This is a big meat butcher table. It's an old antique butcher table. I found it when we were at an antique store down the road when my mom was here. And it must weigh 600 pounds if it weighs. And the guy said he would help move it in. So Lon goes, okay, because the only reason I could get it if somebody would help us move it in. And it's a great work surface. I mean, it is solid.
Well,
it doesn't
move.
And it's a good thing we're on cement, because if it would be sagging if we were on wood.
Oh, good.
So, but this is good. This is a library table. If you come across like children's library tables that are kind of really short for little chairs, my kids had this. We bought it from when they were little from at a library sale. And so after they were gone, I commandeered it from my tabletop or from my counter. Yeah. It makes a great surface. So if you guys come across one, don't hesitate. They're made out of solid wood. And so here's my bench vise. My tip for this would be, I made these neat things out of, there's flat magnets, those strip magnets. Put a piece of leather.
Oh, very good.
And it attaches to your jaws.
Huh.
So that when you want to clamp something and not have it marred by the teeth, you can use that. And if you need a harder surface, just use copper that's been bent, and it will keep your pieces without, because this was made for a shop, of course, so they don't care about the teeth in it. So I thought that was kind of I like the way that turned out.
That's smart.
Yeah, so
good idea.
And I like this vise. It swivels. If I can make it swivel. It swivels, and then so I can do my draw plate. I put my draw plate in here and can put it in and draw out through the laundry room. So it comes in really handy. And let's see what else. And of course we have the hydraulic press. My husband built me the framework and everything for that. Of course it's and I have it the safety. So I have the stand is here, so it doesn't gonna hit me in the face if it happens to decide to shoot out the the ends, so that's nice. What else? My jewelry, that's where I make mine. Oh yeah, there's all my little punches from leather punches, but they work in silver and copper too.
Oh,
And then my form for making my neck wires. And I just love this desk. It's just a great desk for, and then of course my rolling mill. So, and I love this rolling mill. I had it for 5 years before I even got to use it.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, oh, so it was nice to have it
Well,
out
you
of
have
the
to
box.
get this table.
That's exactly right. I didn't have a place to put it. So, just my books from all my sketchbooks, but then all the books from my classes, and then are up there with all the notes that supposedly you look at, right,
Uh-huh.
when you're done.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. and then here's all my enamels that I put in. My mom years ago bought bunches and bunches of these little bottles with no corks, and I found a place that sold corks here in St. Louis, and I thought they'd be perfect for enamels. So I got to put all my enamels in them. They look so pretty in there. So it's really kind of a nice, you can see all your enamels at once and kind of pick them out. I really like that. So, and here is one of my projects from school. I loved wire work then, and I loved the weaving. And I had this whole basket was completely made into a wire form with I rolled down the metal and made it really thin. And then my technique at the time was to put a patina on it, was dip it in salt water and do an ammonia. You put it in like an ammonia bath. You set it on a grid, and with an ammonia in the bottom, it doesn't touch the ammonia. And just the vapors will cause it to turn green. And you put it in a black trash bag and you let it sit. Well, I kind of forgot over the weekend
Oops.
that it was here, and it ate.
Oh my God.
The wire became really brittle, so all this just fell out. So I'm like, okay, so I just keep it as a reminder of one of those oops moments. And
Lesson
it
learned.
kind of looks like an artifact that was dug up somewhere. But so anyway, so that, yeah, it is caustic to things that you have to be careful. So anyway, that was probably about a week's worth of work that I didn't have to get credit for. So anyway, so I think I love this space. I like the color, and I love when the sun comes in through the French door. So that's one of my
Your
favorite
happy
places.
spot.
It is my happy space. And so this is, but then I have come out here because, that's never enough space. So I have all my books, or a lot of them. I think I have 10 or 15 years of lapidary journal. Now art, was it now lapidary? I forget what it's called now. Yeah, lapidary jewelry artist. But I love books. You can never have too many, and I have a hard time getting rid of them. Sometimes I have double. I bought 2 different books. So someday when we get back to our sales, maybe I'll be able to bring some of my extra books.
Yeah.
And all my metal is in those boxes right above the shoes. So I have the silver and the brass and the bronze. They're all waiting this easy place to keep them. They're out of the way. And then my nice little cutter, that's an amazing bench cutter. I love that bench cutter. If anybody was looking for one, I think I got it from Rio, but I think when we were there, we went out there to Santa Fe, I think. Yeah, is it Tucson?
Albuquerque.
There we go. Phew, one of those. Yeah, and so we were actually out there. So I was like, I didn't have to have it shipped, which is great. You didn't have to pay the shipping because it's really heavy. But it's really a great bench vise or bench cutter. Here, sorry, the dog kennel's in the way.
Oh, that's okay.
And then I have all my other little accoutrements from my show setup. Some of them are there, and cutters. This whole buffet is just nothing but storage for bags and cards, and my little Speed Bright cleaner. And this is from, you guys probably, most of you remember Howard Siegel? He was that engineer in our group, and he came with this design one time in one of his talks went to our group. And so I took notes and came home, and my husband and I recreated it. And it sets up like this and you put the spring on here, and your rod, however long you want your rod, you could go clear down, hook it up. Here's the little control, and it's not the, it's like a dial, so you don't have to stand there and hold it with your foot. And you can make coils as long as you want with the piano wire. So if you wanted to make, I've done a lot of bracelets that way. You make a really long coil. I don't usually use clear out to that.
Yeah.
So I could have probably stopped here. But, so it was really a neat. And then my jump ringer. So, and you could actually put those in here if you want. But, and then just storage after storage. I love beads. That's I know. I don't know anybody who loves beads around here. Do you, Catherine?
No.
So anyway, so that's basically that's the setup for my studio. And then of course I have my workhorse of a printer. Ooh, I'll tell you what I found, guys, though. Here, I was trying to put aluminum foil in my dryer because I heard it took away the static. And if you leave them in long enough, they become burnished little nuggets.
Wow.
I mean,
Put a hole in that and you got a bead.
it's like, I don't know
What
what
is
it?
It's beautiful.
Just like,
What is that?
but just to get the little silver nuggets.
Yeah.
And my husband says, you have to stop that. I'm like, fine.
Of course, we're all going to go home and do that.
It was really cool, though. I was really excited. Okay, and so that's basically, I've got a small display of my jewelry from kind of a progression of where I started in school when I went to Ball State for metalsmithing. I think it was my 7th change in major, I think. started out in nursing and ended up in metals. So I know.
Sounds reasonable to
don't you
me.
think? They use scalpels in nursing, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so this is my student work from that time. I had a grant for metal etching from Kodak. It was something that you were awarded. You had to apply for it. You can see there's like a pattern on there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of my favorite pieces that I wore years ago, but the pearl came off, so I haven't worn it lately. It's a pin. You make the catch. But the photo etching was very caustic. You had to go in a dark room. You had to wear a mask, and then you also had to have rubber gloves and a rubber apron. And you had to do it. You had to put all your stuff on there, expose it, and leave and come back, and everything had to be.
It was truly photo
Yeah,
etching.
it was really photo etching.
Yeah.
And the chemicals only came from Kodak, and you couldn't buy them anyplace else. So it really didn't do me any good after the fact. But the process was really cool.
Yeah.
And it left me with some neat stuff. And then I liked Marriage of Metals. That was one of my favorite things. These need cleaned, but oh well. So kind of fun. And then my enameling with some of the etching I did. And I like this. This is one of my favorite settings. Of course, it's very crude. The bezel isn't quite as, around like I would like to, but it captured it. And these are antique beads from a Turkish belt I had as a kid. So all of it's sterling silver. And I just think, and these were stenciled with that metal grid. You can get it like in the Home Depot or Lowe's. It just is like it's back in the, I don't even know what they call it, but you can lay it over and make really neat patterns. So that's just a stencil. And this, I like this. This is a pin.
I like the back.
And I like the setting.
Mm-hmm.
I like that it's just pushed in and holds the lapis. And so that was my student work. Then when I was just playing around, I decided to try and explore Fimo. That's the 2 I have left. I gave everything else away. It's kind of like a steampunk, before steampunk was a thing, I think. And then I took up beading. And this is the back. I was careful. I want my backs to look as good as the front.
Good girl.
And I found out that chamois in the auto department make great back coverings. So that's kind of fun.
And ho, ho, ho.
Oh, ho, ho. And the next thing was I started doing my wire when I was here, because originally I didn't have a metals setup for soldering. So I made used the glass cabs and the gold wire. And this is my first little spider called Iktomi. And then my little angel. That's kind of the first kind of versions of some of my little people.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of fun. And then this is one of the, like a seashell, kind of very, that was a hard one to wrap, but I like the way it came out. And I like that it doesn't lay flat, so it moves when you wear it. Kind of fun. And here's one of those coils I was talking about that you can put on something. I put it on here just to see if I could see how it would go.
And you did.
I did. So, and then the next thing would be, these are my earth mothers, and they're kind of a different evolution of different skills, cold connection as well as soldering. The domes are a challenge to get where you want them and to make so that the solder doesn't run up the sides. But it's kind of a neat learning process. And this is the back, and they're riveted parts of it, riveted parts is soldered. And then I created the necklace, the chain that went around it, the leather chain. Yeah. So, and those are some beads I found in an antique store somewhere. And this is my first attempt at doing post earrings, just out of wire, just one piece. They work out pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fun. Haven't made any more, but that was it.
Oh, come on. Get busy.
I know. And then this was like when I did a thing with a student. We had a thing for GSLAA that was a cooperative effort between a student and an artist, a master artist. And between her and mine, we came up with this, and it was a combination of Japanese and Egyptian.
Mm-hmm.
It was a combination of cultures.
I like that.
Thank you. And etching. So that's kind of fun. It was a neat experience working with kids. We did that about, I think, 3 times, different times we did it. And this is my other earth spirit there. I like the fact that they could look like they're held in with nothing. I've actually got the posts in the back through the matrix that's on the back of the stone.
Ooh,
So it looks like it's just barely being held.
sitting there.
Yeah, so it's kind of a cool look. So, and this is a clasp I think I made in a class. I don't remember whose class it was.
And Allison Enameling.
It might have been. It might have been her. Yeah, because I think it was
That
her.
looks sort of like.
Yeah, she has the
her.
little bullet kind of
Mhm.
pieces.
Yeah. I bet it
Yeah,
is.
so it was kind of a fun thing to put into a piece. And these are also inspired by or done in a class I took. This was the forming class, Joe Mensch maybe.
Mhm.
I think I came home and did something like that. I haven't finished it. I have no idea where it's going, and it may just stay like that. But that's as far as I got on that one. This is the from Sherry's teacher out there in the other college that we went to. It's my brain.
Paulette?
Huh?
Paulette?
Yes, Paulette. Sheesh. Paulette Meyer, where she did the fusing.
Mm.
Or no, she did the perforation. Who did the fusing?
I think she does.
Does she do
fusion.
fusing? Okay.
Mm.
Well, anyway, it might have been Marnie Ryan too. I did a class from her too.
Mm.
But then this was also inspired by that fusing class, which is kind of a fun. I didn't know if it'd come out or not, but it seemed to work okay. And I love piercing, so my little dragon flies. So I don't know if you can see that. It's kind
Yeah, I'm trying not to get
A little
the
bit.
reflection. There it is.
Does that work?
Yeah.
So I love those. They're not very big. And then we had, of course, I love that marriage of metals technique. That was a fun class. I really. And that
Oh,
was,
Suzanne.
yeah, Suzanne Rosick,
yeah.
I think. And then that was one with the gal who did all the tins. I looked up all these names last night. So I remember.
Marlene True.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, between all of us, we make a whole brain. Thank you. And then, of course, this was Sherry Jade. We did these gold, for freak's sake. Anyway, did her class, then I came home and made a next really piece with
What
it.
is that, rolled or
No,
etched?
This is, it's roll. This is etched with that. And then I did the kombu on top with Sherry's class.
Okay,
And that's also kombu. And then I came home and put together a necklace out of it.
gotcha.
Yeah. And so, and these of course are the torch fired enamel in Havel. I did those. And of course I can never replicate that color. I did not pay attention to what I used, unfortunately, and I love that. Darn. So, and here's the stuff that I'm doing today. Some of my earth spirits, a little more complicated, a little more refined. At least I think so. And I love the texture. I love the way the wire kind of curls. It looks very fluid. And there's my little earth spirit, a little fairy. And here I have, here's another one up there. This is, that's a different style.
I like.
She's a little bit different. She's got an open back. She's in a frame. Kind of a fun one to do. And of course the, you have the Viking knit and the end hammer, and then just playing with some spinner rings, which is really cool. I found a technique where you just insert the silver tube inside a copper one and flare it. And it gives you a wonderful soft inside. And with the, so it's really kind of a neat technique. It feels really good on. So I really like those, just playing with the texture. Fun, just seeing if I could solder a disc in a disc inside a disc. So my neck wire, of course, I got that one in Harland Taylor's class. He came and taught with Zoe, and so I kind of was inspired to make that one. He came, and then these are my last. These are my newest. I sold my really cool one that, but I guess I shouldn't complain.
No.
So I don't have it to show, but this is like a back. We took a class where she was showing how to do different bezel settings. And this is actually a back set bezel with a prong. The prong holds it in. And it's etched on the front.
Great idea.
And then this is this is etched. It's got lots of words. I know it's hard to see see there, but it's a deep etch with some words. And you
Don't
see
wiggle. I'll wiggle.
Don't wiggle?
Yeah, just hold it still.
Sorry, can't
That's
talk.
okay.
I can't talk and not wiggle. So, and then I've done a dragonfly, and if you slide it open, there's peace on the inside. And then if you flip it over, it's got hearts. So it's kind of a nice, and I love those kind of veils. And then of course, that's just one of my favorites. It was just something funky that I like, that mostly all cold, I think is all cold connected actually. So, and I think that's kind of just a preview of what's going on.
Why don't you take a seat and maybe everybody can ask you a question or two.
I don't know. I don't know if I can answer them. I don't know if I have any questions.
You're super organized, Lee.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, I think
It looks deceptively organized.
Can you see her?
Here, need some help.
Maybe I just need to hold it. All I
You
have
want to
is
sit in there? Oh, hold on. Just back up.
my good idea wasn't a good
No,
idea.
it was a good idea. Just think it'll get back where we're supposed to be. Hold on. Boop. Technical difficulties. There we go.
Okay.
Now it's,
Oh, I know what-
showing me you.
Oh.
You gotta flip it. You go up to the top. Just touch the screen. Right here. I say that. There it goes.
Yeah. Is it?
Lee,
Yep.
how did you finally settle on metalsmithing from nursing? Like what light bulb went off in your head?
Well, actually, from nursing, I went into music, and I played the flute all through my, school years. So I was going to go into music.
Yeah.
And no, that didn't work out. When your mouth is full of canker sores all the time, and you can't play your flute, then you don't. Probably not the career for you. So then I went from there to doing what it was called a geriatric program to build shops in the nursing homes for them to do like come in and build or do something with their hands. And I'm like, ugh, that's where I met my husband. But I did in a small engines class. I thought, that's not for me. So I just and then from there, I kind of decided to start looking for something. I'm like, well, they have this great art department, and I wanted to go into weaving. So I went into weaving as a major. And the weaving teacher left after a year, professor. So I'm like, okay, So now what do? I went downstairs and there was the metal studio, and I'm like, ooh, that's kind of weaving. You could weave with wire. You could. So that's where I kind of ended up after all that. I ended up in the metals class, and we did everything from forming and raising. Yeah. Oh, I had a bowl I was going to show you. Oh, well, never mind. So that's kind of where it took me, and I got exposed to all. I have a minor in drawing, although you wouldn't know it. I don't really draw all that well, but it looks good on a resume. So I really love the metals. I just liked what you could do with them, and it was really kind of awesome that you could do it in a small setup. You could do it unsophisticated, set up. My wire takes very little. If I was just doing, that's what I started with when I came here, because I didn't have a soldering setup. So I'm like, yeah, so that's how I got into metals, kind of the long way around. But so many, it's okay to change your major. I keep telling my grandkids, it's okay. You don't have to know what you want when you go in. That's part of the fun of going to college. Yeah. And I was lucky enough that my 4 years, when I decided I knew what I wanted, I was in Indiana, and they had a program where if you're a daughter or a son or a daughter of a disabled vet, you could actually get your 4-year tuition and costs paid for. That's good. Which was nice. So that took a little bit of the burden off the family to do that. So went back as a non-traditional student with 2 kids and a husband, and we made it work. So
What's the significance of the Earth Mothers?
My family.
Or the story behind it.
Well, I was just creating some pieces, my cabs, and my family is very in touch with the spirit world. And in fact, Nancy Kaler calls me her woo-woo friend. She says, I can tell you because you're my woo-woo friend. I'm like, yes. So, and they do. They have a lot of conversations. I'm not, I'm kind of in the mix, but I'm not sensitive like they are, I don't think, to the point that they hear people talking or relatives talking. But it was just it's kind of like an energy. And when I'm creating things, there has to be an energy. The face has to like the stone. It sounds crazy, and they have to like each other before I make it. And I was making these things, and I hadn't done any faces. I hadn't done any girls. And I was putting them 2 together, the 2 stacked pieces, kind of like you saw in the very beginning, the purple one, double stacked. And I had made one, and my sister goes, ooh, that looks like a figure, like a girl. That looks like a person. I'm like, oh. So then I started exploring things, and I found a place to get some wonderful bone faces that were made in Bali by a carver. They weren't mass produced. And I bought them from this gal out in Seattle and created from there. They evolved. I started out with cameos when I was first doing wire work, the cameo with the swirls, and everything kind of looked the same. I was copying a lot of what I'm self-taught in the wire world. So I just was kind of copying what I saw, just to kind of using their ideas to capture stuff. And finally it came to click that it was more intuitive. I put it together, and what I do with the wire kind of comes together just from what it feels like, like in a swoop here, and just all of a sudden I'm done. I'm like, wow. So I think it's the energy of the stones. I mean, I'm really a big believer in the energy of the stone. There are different properties from stones, and I think they do speak to you, and I think they have healing properties, and I think they call to people. And I think all my pieces are made for somebody, and they'll eventually find each other. I mean, it may take a couple years, but so that's where it came from.
I love it. I love it.
Thanks.
I would like to see some of the equipment that you have, thinking specifically of the one that Howard Siegel, how that works. I'd like to see a demonstration sometime.
Oh, okay.
Equipment.
Yeah, that we could do that. Yeah, it's really, and it's such a change. I mean, it's such a eye-opening, so easy to do. And I was like, wow, why didn't I think of this before? And you're only limited by the size of the dowel and your imagination when you get done with it. But sure, absolutely, it wouldn't take.
And also the jump, I think right behind it were some jump ring something.
Yeah, jump ring mandel, and the cutter. I think it's a Pepe. I think it's a
well,
Pepe.
I've never seen any of that. I'd love to see a demo of that.
Okay, yeah.
Demos.
I really like doing it. I really like the chainmail, but it takes some concentration to sit down and kind of, I have to be a little bit more,
Makes my eyes cry.
yeah, make things cross, yeah. Yeah, and so I have to be in the right frame of mind to do it. I love the intricacy of it, and it's like another way of weaving the wire into a pattern. And there's a tons of information on how to do it. So, and I like the fact that I can cut my jump rings, and I was cutting them, and I'm like, I didn't realize you could buy them in different sizes. And I'm like, oh, I probably could have done that, but then I have this equipment, so I might as well use it. And you have a little bit more freedom. You can make whatever you want to, as few or as many as you want at a time, which is really nice. You don't have to rely on ordering them. They have all kinds of chainmail catalogs out there and sites that you can order from. But so anyway, it's kind of a little bit more of a gives a little bit more of a personal touch. It's not mass produced.
It's truly handmade.
It is truly handmade.
Well, Lee, I'll reach out to you so you can I'll schedule you for a demo so we can do a virtual.
Talking to me, I can
for
see
the
you talking
conference.
That'd be great.
to me.
It's Genevieve, I'm sorry.
Genevieve, sorry, I don't see your picture. I'm like limited to 4 people on my screen.
Okay.
So, okay, yeah, sure, absolutely.
Lee, do you teach wire wrapping? It's really
Well,
beautiful.
I've taught a couple classes. I mean, it's okay. And I don't mind teaching. I love teaching. It's getting the class together and getting, you know, if somebody would organize the class and say, here's your students, I would be ideal. But yeah, I have taught before. I've probably had 3 or 4 classes and in different places. And
Can you do a demo on that?
sure, yeah,
Number
that'd
2.
be actually kind of second nature to me. So yeah, I would love to do a demo.
She did a demo for us several years ago. I
Oh,
would
that's right,
say
at the
maybe
meeting.
about 8 or 9 years ago. And it was great. It was,
Thanks.
I learned a lot that day.
Thank you. Yeah, I forgot that at a
Yeah.
meeting, wasn't it? Yeah,
It was just a meeting demo.
yeah. Okay, sure, I can do that.
Yeah, we
Well,
can
I
do this.
fact that we all have something that we do that's unique to us. Nancy, I think of some of your work where you have the pictures embedded. Am I right? And I have no idea. I've never seen how that was done, and it would be interesting.
To see that too. Yeah, absolutely.
Talent here. And everybody does something different, but it'd be fun to share the talent.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that'd be a great idea. The challenge will be getting it to have before we can do it in person, to get a video that you know works to show that kind of stuff. So
Lee, could you speak more to that device you use it's for one thing, but you use it more for etching?
oh, you're talking about the rectifier?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Bill Seeley. It's meant for titanium and niobium.
Okay.
And it's actually electrical current, and the 2 alligator clips, you have a positive and a
Oh,
negative.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it's used for. That's what I bought it for, and that's the class I took. And I love to do that, but then I also came up with, I do the ferric chloride etching, and
Right,
it
yeah.
was getting a little scarce to find there for a while. I think you can get it now because Radio Shack used to carry it.
Right. Yeah. I used to get it from Radio Shack.
Yeah, and then so I bought, I forget where I eventually found it after the fact, but I figured out I had this, and I'm like, ooh, I was investigating saltwater etching, and they were doing it with batteries. And I'm like,
Right.
and then I kind of, the light bulb went on. I said, well, it's kind of the same principle as what I have. So then I investigated, can you use that? And because it's an adjustable electrical current, you can also adjust how much is going from the
It's gonna
anode
etch.
and taking away, and learning you don't want to do it backwards because it blows off your mask of your image. You don't want to hook it up backwards. I've done that too. And the whole image came off. I'm like, crap.
Well, and that way you don't have to use the chemicals, right?
Do what?
You're not using a chemical then.
No, it's salt water,
Yeah.
basically. You're just putting the cathode, the anode, and then it's in a saltwater bath. And the salt water is actually the catalyst, or that gets that carries the current.
Super saturated salt.
super
water.
saturated, yes. And it gets really blue when it's very saturated.
Yeah.
So, and it's not like you still have the copper to contend with, but you can let it dry out, then you can just put it in the trash. You're not putting anything down the drain like, you know.
Do you do that? Because I have a bucket of it and I've not known, I thought I had to take it somewhere.
What's that?
When
You
it's
can
dried
put-
out, you can put it in the trash?
The salt water, yeah, you can put, because I called as long as you put it in the trash, you don't put it in the drain.
The copper stuff.
Well, you don't want to do your, you don't want to use your etch that you use for,
For chloride.
the, what do I want? The pickle. You don't want to put that out in the
Right,
trash.
right.
You have to
No,
find something.
no, right.
But as far as the salt water, yes, you can let it dry, crystallize, and put it in the trash.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can, I don't know if there's any filter, you said something about filter, I don't know anything about filtering.
I've filtered it before.
Have you?
Yeah.
You
And
filters
then
your,
I just throw my filter away.
oh, okay.
Because you're pulling the copper out of your liquid. out of
Yeah,
the
oh, I
water.
see what you're saying. I never tried that before.
Yeah.
So I just let it dry up, just put it in a pan and let it dry up and then put it in the trash. But I still haven't found any place to put my pickle.
Mm.
I've still got jugs of it. I have no idea what to do with it. And I called our what do they call it, hazardous waste, and they have no idea.
Can't you
In-
use-
What kind of pickle are you using?
Do what? It's the one from Rio. It's the Rio safety pickle.
You neutralize.
I switched over to a citric.
Yeah, I do neutralize it. It is neutralized with baking soda.
Yeah.
But then
And
you're not
Take it
supposed to,
outside.
huh?
It's healthiest to do it outside when you neutralize it because of the fumes. The
Yeah.
fumes are so toxic.
That's
So
terrible.
take it outside with the baking soda.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's a good
Till it
idea.
stops fizzing.
Yeah, and it does fizz a lot. Like the volcano
Yeah, a lot,
experiment from school.
I know.
So yeah, it's one of those things I try not to do a whole lot. I usually can make mine last quite a while.
Yeah, I try to.
Yeah, but
I get an awful lot of copper in mine, and I'm not sure why. I mean, it turns
you-
blue.
yeah, it does. And I know that you can save that and use it for a plating solution.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So that's something you
Yep.
can do if you get really super saturated pickle. It can be used as a plating solution if you want to plate something copper, or if you have something, maybe
You
a
can
copper.
keep that for a long time. I just keep mine in a big yogurt container, and then
Yeah.
I hang stuff off it with some little wires to plate it.
Yeah, and it'll, like, you have seams sometimes that you want to hide or something, and so yeah, it's a nice.
And I use a citrus-based pickle now,
Yeah, okay,
and that works just as well to plate too. The old pickle.
but you still can't put the copper down the pipes. You still
No.
have to.
No.
Yeah, you still have to make
But
sure
it's
that's
just more for me.
sure.
Where-
Sure,
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, then you can use those pool chemicals too.
Mhm.
So
Where
I've
do you
never done that.
Citric pickle.
I got it. Rio had it. No, actually, it was what is this? Centra. It's like an Italian place in Rhode Island. I can email you the name.
Oh,
Yeah, that-
interesting, too.
I've never heard of that. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
little.
probably
It's
people
less
making their own.
toxic.
That's nice that you can buy it.
Yeah.
Which one do you like better, the ferric chloride or the saltwater etching?
They both have their pluses and minuses. I think it's a cleaner etch with my saltwater etching. If you
Oh,
look,
yeah.
it doesn't have the striations because you don't have the ferric chloride is always moving.
Well, it's
Yeah.
electrical.
Yeah,
It's
plus
an
it's,
electrical
yeah, it's
current.
electrical, but it's coming off and on, so it seems like it's just a cleaner edge and a
Yeah.
cleaner surface when it's etched. And then the other is that it seems like you get more movement with the ferric chloride sometimes, because I do mine like they do the printmakers. I hang it in my ferric chloride, so you don't and then you have a
I hang
little
mine too.
motor on the top, and if you infuse it with hydrogen peroxide and a little
Yeah.
ascorbic acid, vitamin C, something, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and then that makes it like a super etch. And it's more like what the printmakers use. And so if you hang it, you have more action, and you don't have to rely on, you don't have to,
And
you have to,
everything falls. in
Yeah,
there.
yeah. but nothing builds up is easy.
Right.
And then I have my little pump filter thing that vibrates the container just in case, but I don't think that's really necessary. But then because the bubbles are running up, I get really kind of cool striations on there too. So yeah, I think both of them have their uses. I like the other because it's quicker and easier. I can hook it up, salt water, and it's done in a matter of minutes if you got fresh water and your piece is not too thick. And the ferric chloride takes a little longer, and you have to kind of watch it, make sure it doesn't. Sometimes it might start eating through your
Metal.
mask.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you're not careful, underneath, like undercutting, you have to really make sure it's put down. So yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
This was what I had got. I don't know if you could see that. It's
Citric.
called Nature's Touch Citric Acid Pickle.
Oh, cool.
And I got it at contenti.com.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But they have it on, I try to stay away from Amazon. They have it on Amazon too, I think.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
and some other places, but you can shop around, but that's what it's called.
Okay. Now that's neat. I'll have to look into that.
Well,
Yeah.
Content is a smaller
It is.
company too, so.
That's true.
Yeah, and I got it really fast too.
Did you? That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to buy my enamel from them.
You don't have to worry about how you dispose of it. Is that correct?
Not as much. It's not going to eat your pipes, but you still have to take care of the copper content
Yeah.
in it. That's the problem. So I don't know. What do you do with yours? How do
I
you,
keep using mine as plating. And it
Okay.
eventually sort of just dries
Kind of
up and I add more old stuff. So I really haven't had to throw any away yet.
that's nice.
What you have are the salt. The water's evaporated out of it, so you just have the salts.
Well, no, I keep adding to it. So there's always a liquid into it, but I haven't had to throw it away because I keep using it for plating.
It just kind of evaporates out the moisture
Yeah.
into the air.
Other than that- Well, thank you so much. That was
That's
fantastic.
awesome.
And we'll have
Thank you, Lee.
to plan some
I'm
demos
gonna
because I know everybody wants to learn something new.
No way.
Somebody say something, Linda? Okay, I heard something. Okay, well, I'm glad I could show everybody. Kind of nice to.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
thanks, Lee.
Thank you for having me. It's been
Yeah.
fun.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you.
Sure, hey,
Woohoo!
it was fun.
Yeah, my dog took my husband for a walk, so we could have quiet too.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, always have the dog take the husband.
She's not necessarily a very calm personality. So he'll be glad to know when he can come back in a little bit. So.
Okay, well, unfortunately, I have to go because I've got another meeting and I'm.
You're the host.
Bye, all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Nice.
Good. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Nice to see everybody.
It is. Well,
Yes.
There were two of you for a minute, Genevieve.
there we go. Whoops.
Bye,
We're-
Linda. Nice to see you.
Okay. See you all later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Catherine, thank